She'll do it
Sorry.
beautifully.
Oh.
Voice of hers.
About how Baz helped us shape the characters. Is that what the question is? Oh, yeah. Baz, when I was cast and we started talking about Daisy, Baz led me towards Zelda. Gave me about 6 books about Zelda Fitzgerald, first of all, and told me to go and read them all.
By the morning.
by the next day. And then also, we organised a trip. I went to Princeton. I spoke with the people there who were scholars of Fitzgerald and held his estate at Princeton. And I started reading about this woman, Geneva King, who was another of the inspirations for Daisy, who was in a relationship with Scott for about a year. And they wrote these letters to each other. And I was lucky enough to be given a copy of all of her letters to him, and his letters to her don't exist anymore, so I just had her letters. And immediately you could see the language, the way that she used words. It was completely how Daisy writes and talks, and looking at Zelda's diaries and her letters as well. She wrote a letter once to Scott, and it was one of my favorite letters. She wrote the most beautiful love letters, but she wrote this one letter where she was being nostalgic, and of course this whole thing is about people who can't release themselves from the past. And she wrote this letter, and she was talking about her birthday, and she said, "It was my birthday. We were walking beneath the pine trees. You were a young lieutenant, and I was a fragrant phantom." And it just struck me, we just sort of soaked up all of these amazing words and these amazing descriptions of these two women, and that's how we sort of tried to put Daisy together as faithful as we could to how she was in the book, but then also using these two kind of incredible women.
So it was Carey's idea, you know, the line in the film, she says, "I wish I'd spent all..." Say the line.
I wish I'd done everything on earth.
Take it from the top, ready? And action. What's that line?
I wish I'd done everything on earth with you all my life. Although all my life you cut. But it's fine.
I cannot believe she said that. I cannot believe you said that. I had to keep the story told. But the point is that Miss Mulligan would come to me and say, what about if she... And Mr. In fact, every single actor... Yes, every single actor here. Every single actor here. And not only did every single actor here come to me and say, what about that bit here? But sometimes I remember Leonardo saying, because, you know, Craig and I were always trying to keep it taut, keep rhythm. You know, if you read the book, it's 7 hours long. We had to do it in 2. We were on the set doing the speakeasy, and Leonardo said, and Amitabh Bachchan, who is one of the finest actors I've ever worked with in my life, was on the set, and it was very noisy, really. I mean, he was exquisite. But Leonardo leaned across and said, he's got to say the line about the teeth. I mean, the teeth. And Amitabh said, well, of course I could do that. I mean, they were fighting for each other to get as much of Fitzgerald's poetry and dialogue into that movie in every little corner, in every little squeezed moment. So that's what a theatre company is. It's actually a collective of people trying to serve the one God, and that is the story. Yeah.
Miss Fisher?